So today we're going to create a solar scene from scratch. So we're going to open Photoshop and we're going to go to File New or Create New on our start page. And then we're going to do Custom, and we're going to make it 11 inches wide by 8.5 tall, just the standard size of a sheet of paper. I'm gonna call this solar scene. And I'm gonna bump the resolution up to 300, which is our default if we're setting up to print. And for our background this time, I'm gonna change my background to black because we are gonna do a planet scene, so we're gonna start with black this time. And then go ahead and hit create. Okay, so here is our workspace when we get started. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some little stars in our scene. So we're going to go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. And we're going to do Gaussian. The amount's going to be 30%. We're going to do Gaussian and make sure that you're on monochromatic. If it's not monochromatic, you're going to see it looks kind of like it's got a lot of color in it. So make sure you check the monochromatic. And then you're going to click OK. Okay, so we've got our background for our space scene. Now the next thing we're going to do is we are going to create our base for our planet. So we're going to go to our ellipse tool down here. So you might have the rectangle tool or another tool present. You're going to click and hold down and select the ellipse tool. And then you're going to hold down on shift. By holding down on shift, you're going to create a perfectly proportional shape. So in this case, we're going to have a perfect circle. The color doesn't matter at all right now. Because we're going to be putting something over it, so don't worry too much about that. So I'm holding down shift as I click and drag to create my base circle for my planet. Again, the property panel comes up, so I could adjust it here if I wanted to, but really this is just our base and we don't need to change anything no matter what color it is or anything at this point. So I'm going to just collapse this down. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, if I haven't already downloaded the texture image in Google Classroom, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've pre-downloaded it, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to place it on top of the circle that I just created. So I'm going to go to File, Place Embedded, and I'm going to then select it from my downloads. And when I place it, it's either going to be a little too large or a little too small. Go ahead and we're going to adjust it so that it covers the whole entire circle. It's going to look a little bit pixelated. It's not the highest quality image. As you're adjusting it, you might notice that it's keeping its proportions. Just to point out to you, that's because this chain link is on up here in the options bar. If I click off of that, it will allow you to move it without keeping the proportions. Okay, once you get it covering your circle, you're going to hit the check mark at the top. It will adjust and some of the pixelation should go away for you. Now we're going to have this texture conform to take on the shape of our planet. So we're going to go to Layer, Create Clipping Mask. So Layer, Create Clipping Mask, and now we have the texture has taken on the shape. The next part is now we're going to choose our color for our planet. This is a very individualized project, so everyone's will look different when you are finished. So at this point, they're all going to start to vary. Well, I'm sure the size of the planets vary also. So we're going to go down to our adjustment layers, which remember are non-destructive. At the bottom of our layer panel, the little circle. And it's the very top one where it says solid color. And whatever color you want your planet to be, go ahead and choose it. I think I'm going to go with like a reddish tone for this one. Now, don't worry too much. Your color should cover the whole entire workspace. So now you're going to repeat that last step you did with the clipping mask. So layer, create clipping mask, and it's now going to take on that same shape of the circle. So now we're going to play with our blending mode. So our layer blending mode is right here in the top of our layer panel where it says normal. Now again, this I want you to kind of go through and choose the one that you like specifically for what you're doing, the color you picked. So kind of go through them. There's dissolve, multiply is a good one I would recommend. Color burn is another good one. Go kind of through them. Screen is another good one. So everybody's gonna like something a little different. I actually like lighter color a lot in this one too. Overlay is a good one. Layer blending modes are really marvelous. Oh, that's cool. I like pen light, hard mix, difference, exclusion. That's pretty cool. So go through, and everybody's is going to be different. You pick the one that really speaks to you and that you're liking best. I really like color too. So I'm kind of between pin and color. I'm gonna go with color for this one. You do whatever you want to do, whatever speaks to you. Okay, now the next part is we're gonna merge these top 3 layers together so that we can work on the planet as a whole. So I'm gonna hold down Command or Control if you're on a PC, and I'm gonna click on the top 3 layers to select them. So we're selecting every layer except the background layer. Then we're gonna merge them together. The shortcut to merge is Command or Control E as in egg. And the long way to do it is layer, merge, merge. Let me make sure I tell you the right one. Merge layers. Yeah, layer, merge layers. So if you want to do the shortcut, that's the one we have been using, Command or Control E as in egg, or you can do it through the menu, which is basically around the same area where we go to when we flatten. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some layer effects. So we're going to go down, I'm going to rename this planet. So we're on our planet layer, and we're going to go down to the little effects at the bottom of our layer panel. And the first one that we're going to do is going to be, the inner shadow. So we're going to do the inner shadow first. So when you are on the inner shadow over here on the left, I always move the window to the side so I can see what I'm working on. Now the settings that you're going to choose are here. Now in the center, you can change the color as well, so just keep that in mind. I think I actually like it with a little blue, so I'm going to change my color. You can change all of these settings here. So again, very individualized. You do it to your liking. After you're done with these settings here in the middle for inner shadow, you're going to click on the words for inner glow, and you're going to do the inner glow. Now again, when you're on inner glow, it will then change the settings in the center, and you can then go and you can change everything here for your inner glow. So you work on that until you're liking. And now the last one that we're gonna do is, you can of course, you can play around with this, but the last one that we're gonna do for the assignment is outer glow. So we're gonna click on the outer glow right here. And then again, we're gonna go in and we're gonna go to and adjust our settings. So what I do is not necessarily what you're gonna do. That's why I'm not telling you specific colors to pick and whatnot, because you're gonna do what speaks to you and what you really like. So here I am changing my spread, well, that's huge. I don't want it that big. Whoa, okay. So again, play around with it because that's how you learn what everything is. So play around with it, see what it does. Okay, and then when you're happy with everything, go ahead and click OK. All right, now the next part, we're gonna do the ring. So the next part, we're gonna go back to our ellipse tool. And when we do our next circle, it's not really gonna matter how big you make it because we're gonna be transforming it. Anytime you use a shape tool, it automatically creates its own layer. So I'm gonna grab the ellipse tool again. This time it does matter what color you're gonna use because this is gonna be the color of your ring. So I'm gonna kind of, you can pull up your color picker here. I'm gonna like kind of sample this purpley color, but you can do whatever you want. And then you're just gonna hold down Shift again and click and drag to make a circle. Doesn't really matter where your circle is at this point. If you wanted to have an outline around your circle, which I actually do because I didn't change it, your stroke is your outline around the edge, and this is how big your outline is. So mine's 3 pixels. So you can really see it very minimally, but it is there. Okay, now our next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the second tool down, and I'm going to click and hold down so I can grab the elliptical marquee tool. With my elliptical marquee tool, I'm going to click and drag to make a circle. Let me redo that. I'm going to deselect and do that again. So I'm actually going to hold down Shift so I can make my circle pretty perfect. And then I'm going to move it and place it just like so. I'm going to try and put it right in the middle. And then I'm going to hit the delete key. And you're going to see it comes up and it just told me it's not directly editable because what I need to do is rasterize it. So I'm going to go Layer, Rasterize, Shape. And then after I do that, I'm going to hit delete. When I hit delete, the inside of that circle is going to go away and you'll see how it's starting to become the ring. Now I'm going to deselect, so Command or Control D as in dog, or Select, deselect. And now I'm going to free transform. So the shortcut to free transform is Command or Control T, or you can do Edit Free Transform. Now this part's kind of tricky because you're going to kind of play around with it and you're going to click. You're going to kind of squash it and flatten it and play around with it until you get what you think looks like a convincing ring. Everybody's is going to look a little different. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Now what I'm going to do at this point is I don't want to see the ring up here in this section of my planet. So I'm going to, on my ellipse layer 1, which let me rename the ring, I'm going to add a layer mask. So the layer mask button is at the very bottom center of our layer panel. I'm going to add that layer mask button. I'm going to hit D on my keyboard to set my foreground and background color to default black and white. And then I'm going to make sure black's on top, so just hit X if black is not on top. Now I'm going to grab my brush tool, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on my general brushes, and I'm going to want to use a hard round, kind of a hard round brush for this. And I'm just going to paint over top of this area. Oh, oops, got a little too much on that side. So now remember, when you are using a layer masks are non-destructive, just like adjustment layers. So right here where I messed up and on the edge a little bit, I'm just gonna hit X, switch to white, and I'm gonna make my brush smaller, and I'm gonna paint that back in, that little bit right there, paint that back in. This little bit right there, paint that back in. So now it looks like my ring is going behind my planet. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add the same layer styles that I added to my planet, so the inner shadow, inner glow, and outer glow. So on my ring layer, I'm going to go to my little effects. I'm going to start with my inner shadow again. Do whatever I like. I might just stick with the same ones I used. My inner glow, play around with it, get what you like, and my outer glow. Dropping that down on this one. Ooh, that's kind of fun. I kind of like the spread on that. All right, so everybody's is gonna look different. You play around with it, you make it how you like it. And then when you are finished, you're going to flatten it. If you wanted to do more than one planet, you're more than welcome to. You just repeat the same steps over again in different places. But when you are finished, you're gonna do layer. Oh, you could also, you could do like add spaceships, astronauts, whatever you want up there. So go for it, be creative, add whatever you want to do. Then you're gonna layer, flatten image, and file, save as, and to turn in.